live. Opening day, less than 24 hours away. Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. Alongside Tyler Fortenbaugh, I'm Joe Fulghum, or am I? This is Bet. We promise to sharpen up between now and the end of the program. Tim Legler, coming up in just a moment. Is now the time to bet the Los Angeles Lakers to win the championship? A little March Madness beat the market as we get set for the Final Four. And as you can see, it is movie night, baseball edition in honor of opening day. For those of you jonesing for a little NFL action, Tyler and I, alongside Doug Kazarian yesterday, had a conversation about NFL make or miss the playoff contenders that we've put up on our YouTube page, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. Check it out there. You can also check out more NFL coverage today. Daily Wager, ESPN2, 6 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, DFFS. Are you ready?
I'm ready. You called me Tyler Fortenbaugh to start the show. I'd much rather be Fortenbaugh when it comes to DFFS because you're kicking my arse around here.
It's tight. 9 weeks in. Daddy has a one-game lead, 5-4. We were tied up at 4 last week. I was able to get the edge. So you look to tie it up in round 10 tonight. As you all know how it works, we go to DraftKings. We use the lineups. Fire away. What do you got tonight?
All right, here's what we're going to start with today. There's going to be a lot of Oh, Joe, you go first since you won last week.
I took a look and I was like, my God, he's got the same team as me.
I'll sit back and I'll learn a thing or two about how to play some DFS.
What are the odds we have the same 8 guys? All right, here's what you can see. Big money for big production. James Harden tonight against the Houston Rockets. That's where I chose to spend my cash. DeJounte Murray has a great matchup with the Kings. They played on Monday. Sacramento, as we all know, 30th in defensive efficiency this season. In that game, Murray went for 23, 8, and 7, so I'm willing to pay the $7,000. Now, you'll notice I have 3 members of the Utah Jazz in the lineup. Jordan Clarkson at less than $6,000. I've got Derek Favors really cheap, and we've got Joe Ingles. Why? We're playing against the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, who not exactly solid on the defensive end, and these two teams met twice last week. And when they met, the Jazz averaged 121 points per game. Clarkson put up 42 points, 11 boards, and 5 assists in those 2 matchups at less than 6,000. I had to take a shot. And you'll notice I might have to yank him before tip time. Derrick Rose. He's back from COVID. First game back against the Milwaukee Bucks. He came off the bench. He played huge for him. He did not play against the Miami Heat. He's questionable. Really hope to use him tonight at that price point in a favorable matchup against a terrible Minnesota Timberwolves team. But we'll see. Reserve the right to pull if he is scratched, but no tomfoolery with the rest of the lineup. That's what we're thinking.
We have a similar build, so to speak. It's going to be 5-on-5 because there are 3 crossovers.
Clarkson,
I will tell you that for 45 minutes today while we were upstairs, I was trying to figure out how to build a James Harden lineup. I wanted him in, but once the news broke about the Toronto Raptors and Kyle Lowry being out, I had to fade James Harden because I want all 3 of those Toronto Raptors that will soak up the usage with Kyle Lowry out in a great matchup against OKC. You see Fred VanVleet, you see Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby. Each should play 34 to 38 minutes in this game. It's a game where they are expected to win, which is crazy because they're like 1-12 in their last 13. They're playing OKC without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Al Horford, Lou Dort, Alex Pokashevsky.
The fact that you know this many members of the Thunder roster.
They're all gone off OKC.
Insight.
So that's why I do have Isaiah Roby in there. Isaiah Roby is a forward, and with no Muscala, with no Pokashevsky, all these guys out, he should play 35 minutes, win, lose, or draw. They just have to have bodies out there.
Tell me about Bob Williams.
Bob Williams. I wanted Moses Brown, who was $400 more, the center, who's now taking over for Al Horford.
Your boy.
But Bob Williams, with Tristan Thompson still out, Daniel Tice traded to the Chicago Bulls. Robert Williams, they call him the Time Lord in Boston.
Yes.
The guy is one of the best shot blockers in the NBA. He hasn't had the opportunity, but now that he's getting it, I expect him to have 2, 3, 4 blocks every single game. Like him as a center there. And the one name that, where we do crossover, Clarkson, Hamidou Diallo, and Mike Conley. So that's where we cross over, 5-on-5. I wanted James Harden, but I couldn't fade all those Toronto guys who were like sub 8,000, sub 7,000. So a little more even build. I have an even build.
It's not as if Harden is trying to stuff the stat sheets these days.
Of course not.
Not playing for the MVP or anything like that.
It's not like he's had like 80 points in every DraftKings game he's played in the last 2 weeks.
Tune in tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, right here for the recap on how round 10 shakes down. But for now, we bring in our good friend Tim Legler. 10-year NBA veteran, ESPN NBA analyst, joining us here on Bet. Legs, we always appreciate the time. Former Cavalier Andre Drummond is set to make his debut tonight for the Los Angeles Lakers. We were curious as to your thoughts. When this team gets healthy, LeBron and AD are back, what can Drummond do for this team? What's the upside? How good can he make them?
Well, I think what happens is you get a team like the Lakers, and they look around the landscape of the league, and they see, teams just constantly trying to add talent. They know they're already good enough to win it all with just LeBron, AD, adding Schroeder, adding Montrezl Harrell. But what they try to do is now hedge their bets by making sure at no point do they have a lineup on the floor that can give up a run. And when you have an additional player like Andre Drummond, who's going to gobble up every single defensive board that comes near him, he's a guy that can score the basketball in the paint. He's going to get you second chance points. It just makes you less susceptible to having a weak unit on the floor. They already had enough talent. But now it's like, okay, look what Denver did. They had Aaron Gordon. Look what Brooklyn has done and who they've added. They're gauging themselves against those teams, even the Clippers who added Rondo. So you want to go out, you want to add another guy that's highly productive. That's what Drummond is going to do. He's going to have to get used to playing in a style where the ball's not going to be coming to him first. He's going to have to be willing to run the floor, screen dive hard every single time. And then his primary focus on this team, rim protection and defensive rebounding. And it just gives them another element in which they can beat you by just destroying teams on the glass.
Yeah, Legs, the Lakers are still a favorite at Caesars William Hill to win the Western Conference. Plus 135 is the price. Now, after this Drummond news and knowing that eventually AD and LeBron are coming, is now the time to buy the Lakers? Do you think you're ever going to get a better price, or this is going to inflate to plus 150, plus 200, something where you might wait, or is now the time, the best price you're going to get on the Lakers going forward?
It's the best price you're going to get, because what's going to happen, LeBron and AD eventually are going to come back, we assume. And at first, there's still going to be times where they probably have minutes restrictions and they're trying to, get their legs under them. And so they might still drop some games. But eventually, this team is going to hit their stride as we head into the playoffs. We're getting down to the point now, these teams have about 25 games to play. So before you know it, it's going to be a sprint to the finish, trying to position yourself for seeding in the Western Conference. And when they start to string together wins, I think that's what people are going to start to see. This is still the best team in the Western Conference, despite what Denver did, despite what the Clippers did, despite how good Utah has been, how good Phoenix has been. If the Lakers have their two stars healthy and they've added Schroeder, Harrell, and now Andre Drummond to the mix, that's the best team in the Western Conference. People are going to see that when they string together wins, and then it's going to be much more difficult to get them at this price to win it all.
Legs, as if the Brooklyn Nets weren't already loaded enough with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, they've recently added Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm curious, and this is a bit of a curveball. We didn't let you know this question was coming. Would you bet your pinky toe against $5 million that the Nets win the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, I just don't see any way in which the Nets are not playing in the NBA Finals. There has never been a team ever put together, not just an NBA, in any basketball league on the planet, has there ever been a team with this kind of firepower and raw scoring ability at the top? There just hasn't been anything that any other league has had to deal with. And teams trying to scheme for this, trying to have the personnel to deal with this. And I'm not even so much worried about Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. For me, that's just window dressing at this point. They're going to be guys that are going to be sort of picking up the crumbs. Their veteran presence, we get it. But this is about those top three guys. And then primarily really about James Harden, because it's his show, it's his team. So for me, it's almost inconceivable that the Nets aren't in the NBA Finals. I think it's going to take something dramatic to happen, an injury or something like that, where I would maybe look at it differently. Milwaukee, I think, is the best version of themselves. Well, I got to see what the Sixers look like once Embiid comes back, assuming he's going to be healthy again. That's a legitimate team that can contend. But I think the Brooklyn Nets are on a completely different level because they just have too much offense. They have too many answers for anything you could throw at them.
All right, last week we had you on. We talked about the MVP and James Harden's chances. You talked about Joel Embiid and LeBron James. Great case. We were in agreement. Well, since then, Harden has continued to go nuclear, and he's actually come out and said that he believes he's the MVP. The odds have dropped all the way down to 5-1. They were 10-1 last week. Have you changed your opinion at all on Harden for MVP over the last week?
Yeah, I think, look, Joel Embiid's been out a little bit longer than I anticipated. It's certainly not helping his case. Now, he's coming back maybe at the end of this week. He still has enough time. If he finishes with the type of numbers that he started this season with, and they win at a really high rate, and they hold on to the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, it's not too late for Joel Embiid. But I think James Harden has positioned himself now where he's in a great position here. And if the Nets have a long winning streak, and he plays almost every night, we know that, then James Harden may have risen to the lead in this race. I think LeBron hurt himself, obviously, with the time that he's been out. But there are a couple other guys that also have time, I think, to make a strong case. I think Nikola Jokic has a case. If Denver continues to climb and they close that gap and they pass the Lakers, and this is a team that ends up 2 or 3 in the West with what he is doing, Jokic has a chance. Luka Doncic has a chance. Dallas has been better over the last month, and they continue to climb in the West. If that continues to happen with eye-popping numbers, I wouldn't rule him out either. And Damian Lillard is still a guy I think that's in the mix. So this is probably as wide open as it's been this late in the season for me. Typically by now, you kind of know who the front runner is, and barring an injury, you think that guy's going to get it. I think there are 5 or 6 guys that can lay claim to it, but right now, James Harden is probably the leader in the clubhouse. If he can hold on to this thing and they continue to win at a high rate, it might be his now because of the absences of these players.
That'd be crazy to think that Harden comes in and wins this MVP this year, but it is certainly moving that way. Now, speaking of MVPs, there's a couple of guys who got 6 combined MVP trophies on their shelf. One is LeBron James' legs, and the other is Steph Curry. Our colleague here at ESPN, Brian Windhorst, was on a podcast recently and said that in the event that for some reason Steph doesn't extend with the Warriors after this season, LeBron has begun his recruiting pitch to Steph to join him in LA. So answer me in these parts. How likely is this on a scale of 0 to 100? And in the off chance that it does happen, what do we do with our popcorn if Steph and LeBron get together and join up on the same team?
All right, well, I can deflect answering the second one because the answer to the first one is a big fat 0. There is no chance that Steph Curry ends up in LA playing with LeBron. I actually think Steph Curry might be that rare guy now that we're going to see going forward, because it's not going to happen very often where you have a player that ends up retiring with the team that drafted him. And I think that could be Steph Curry. He just seems like he gets the bigger picture. His legacy is so cemented there. I don't know that he wants to feel like, hey, I did things like these other guys that chased it and paired up with guys and changed franchises. I did it differently. He won one pre-Durant, so as the best player on the floor and as an MVP, he won a title. Then he won 2 more with Kevin Durant. He's got 3 rings. He's got 2 MVPs. He gets the bigger picture. He wants to say, you know what? I did it a little bit differently than those guys. I did it more in the vein of a Tim Duncan, of a Dirk Nowitzki, of a Kobe Bryant. I think that matters to Steph Curry, so I don't see any chance that he ends up in LA.
All right, I agree with you there, Legs, but just give us the one-word answer to this. If in the off chance somehow cosmically Steph does join AD and LeBron in LA, which team would be the favorite next year? Brooklyn with their trio or the Lakers with their trio?
Lakers. I'd go with the Lakers, no question about it, because the pieces would fit seamlessly. So you want me to sum that up in a word? If Steph Curry were to go there, my word? Unfair. That's my word. It's not fair to the rest of the league.
ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler, kind enough as always to share some time with us here on Bet. Thanks, Legs. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
You got it.
I don't know why I'm wishing him a great weekend on Wednesday. It's not like
it
we're
has
back
been
in
a long
college.
week, though, and I think once opening day happens, let's just get to the weekend, because we're celebrating baseball being back.
And we've got the Final Four this weekend as well, so it's time for a little March Madness Beat the Market. I'm going to give you the sides and the totals for the 2 games that are taking place Saturday night. You tell me which bet you would advise making now in order to beat the line move. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, both games Saturday, April 3rd. Baylor-Houston is the early game at 5:14 p.m. Eastern. Gonzaga-UCLA is the late game at 8:34 p.m. Eastern. Baylor's laying 5, total of 134.5. Gonzaga is laying 14, total of 145. How are you going to beat the market?
Baylor laying 5. I expect that to grow a little bit, especially after what we saw Gonzaga do as a 1 seed last night, just completely wipe USC off the floor. Go back to the beginning of the season, Gonzaga and Baylor were right there. They were the cream of the crop. Everyone else was in a division all to themselves in college basketball, but these two were on a collision course for the NCAA championship round. And as great as Houston is, they haven't played a team like Baylor in the conference they play in, and they've played nothing but double-digit seeds in this NCAA tournament. So I can imagine some money coming in on Baylor at -5, given Houston's path and the fact that Baylor has been so good throughout this year. By the Bears now.
All right, I'm actually with you. Exact same game. I don't know what to make of that Gonzaga land at 14, especially after what we saw them do last night. Not sure what to do with the total yet there, but I do know what to do with the total in Baylor-Houston. And even though it's coming down from 135 to 134.5, I'm advising you bet the over in this matchup. For a lot of what you just said, Houston is a very good defensive team, based on competition that is nowhere near the likes of Baylor. They played two very good offenses this year. They gave up 74 points in a matchup to Memphis, Penny Hardaway's crew, who just won the NIT. Shout out Penny Hardaway. And they gave up 82 points to East Carolina. Here comes Baylor, one of the most ruthlessly efficient offenses, one of the deepest offenses in all of college basketball. And oh, by the way, they're number 1 in three-point percentage. But the most integral point of why you want to bet the over here, both of these teams rank in the top 7 in offensive rebounding. Both of them rank outside of the top 150 in defensive rebounding. Translation, you're going to have a lot of second chance opportunities on the offensive glass for two teams who were great on the offensive glass and not so great on the defensive glass. By the way, 135, that neighborhood, is the lowest Baylor total of the season. Lowest Baylor total of the season. So we're not asking for a whole lot. Houston can play D, but they're going to step up. All right, so we're on the same game. I'm saying the over. Yeah. You are saying Baylor. We'll have more on this. We'll continue our March Madness Mind Meld Pick'em on tomorrow's show, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Ready to pick some golf?
Yeah, let's get on the links, my friend.
Par 3 time. It is the Valero Texas Open at TPC San Antonio, kicking off tomorrow in San Antonio, Texas. Now, it's only got 8 of the top 50 in the world playing this week. Why? Well, the Masters is next week, and a lot of guys are getting tuned up for that. So here we go. 3 of your best bets from the Valero Texas Open. Share them with the people.
All 3 right now?
All 3 right now.
Okay. I have a couple of outright winners that I like. The first being Abraham Answer at 22-1.
Answer.
He has never. He is the answer potentially this weekend. He's never missed a cut in his career. He's 3 for 3 here at this event. He's been in good form as of late. Let's take away the Dell match play because that's a unique style.
Different type
in
of
regular tournament play.
Yes.
22nd at the Players, 18th at WGC Mexico, and 5th at the Amex. Good driver of the ball, good on his approach shots, and loves putting on Bermuda, which we'll see at this course, and a very good player in the wind. It's expected to be windy in San Antonio. He knows how to keep the ball below the wind. That's part of his ball flight. Answer at 22-1 as an outright winner.
Texas swing, always known for its wind. Fun fact for you moving forward in life.
Cameron Tringali, another outright winner at 35-1. He's made 9 of his last 10 cuts, including 4 top 20s in that time. He ranks top 12 in some key stats we're going to want at this course based on the layout. Strokes gain on approach, strokes gain putting, and birdie or better percentage. He is a guy who can score, and at 35-1, I think that's great value.
Good price.
Then I'll go Sam Burns to finish in the top 5 at 9-1. He too loves, like Answer, putting on Bermuda grass, and he's 7th in this field in strokes gained putting. He knows how to score. He's 6th in the field in birdie or better percentage, and he's top 25 in the field in strokes gained off the tee and on approach. So he's combining those stats we want at this particular course, and he's had some, when he plays well, he plays really well. So that's the thing. There's kind of some variance.
High ceiling.
There's kind of some variance. High ceiling. If he's on his A game, Burns can not only finish top 5, he could win as well.
All right. I like him.
That's my 3.
Not
what you got, brother?
With any, and I think we have a little bit of a share on Answer.
Okay.
So fire away. We'll start with Ryan Palmer, plus 125 to finish in the top 20. No one has noticed this. Palmer has finished in the top 25 in 15 of his last 27 events. Wow. The guy's been money, but he doesn't go out and win events. So no
just had
really
the one
paying
effort
attention.
on target in this second half, England.
To the beginning of 2020, so he's been in good form. Last stroke play event is at TPC Saltgrass, where he finished 17th. You know, it's a loaded
dispossessed,
field. You know, it's the 5th major. It's one of the
once
biggest
again,
events
England starting to dominate.
He's in good form recently. He's in very good form over the macro period. And then at the same time, here at TPC San Antonio in the Valero, he's missed the cut in his last 2 starts here. But He was also tied for 6th or better in 3 straight starts before that. So again, like you said, variance. High ceiling at this event, low floor. I'm going to play to the high ceiling because of the recent form and what he showed at Sawgrass. Plus 125, I just need him in the top 20. Zach Johnson loves this course. He won here twice. I believe it was 2008 and 2009. He's top 30 in 4 of his last 5 starts in this event with the 2 wins that we mentioned. 5th in 2018, which was the last time he played here. And the last time we saw him in a stroke play event was at the Honda, tied for 8th. So again, recent form, great on this course. Over the last decade, he's won here twice. We just need him in the top 30 at plus money.
Like that?
Final one, your boy. Abraham the answer, going against Hideki Matsuyama. Matsuyama is the favorite in this. He's minus 118. Answer's minus 109. For all the reasons you've laid out, pro answer. Plus, Matsuyama, overvalued in this spot. Hasn't been sharp this year, has missed the cut in 2 of his last 4 stroke play events. A lot of people are going to like him going to Augusta, but he hasn't been in great form as of late.
Yeah, and I don't like Matsuyama at this particular event because you're going to need to have a good short game, and putting specifically, that's Matsuyama's weakness. Great ball striker, but you got to putt well at this particular course to score, and Answer is much better than Matsuyama in that regard.
Are you going to wear the green jacket on this show next week for the Masters?
Stupid question.
I saw it down the hall in the closet.
Stupid question. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Kidding me?
Very excited. We're going to have thousands of bets for that event next week.
Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a?
Final 4 Saturday, championship next week, opening day tomorrow.
This rivals
next week.
You have regular season hockey, regular season NBA that you can bet on. There's mixed martial arts cards that are sprinkled in as well. This part of the calendar, sports calendar, rivals any other at any part of the year.
It's meaty, like prime rib. This is a prime rib type of year.
You go horseradish or au jus on your prime rib?
Horseradish.
Yeah,
House of Prime Rib in San Francisco, if you're ever there. It's one of the all-time greats.
Do I drop the Fortenbaugh name?
You do.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if they'll know what that means, but you drop it regardless. All right, opening day's tomorrow, less than 24 hours away. You've seen the popcorn. It's time for a little movie night. 10 famous baseball movies. We will be working as a team in tandem, getting 1 quote per movie, trying to get it right. Let's take a look at some of the movies we will be discussing. The Natural, Bull Durham.
League of Their Own.
2 different movies. The Natural was not Bull Durham. Just throwing that out there.
How many of these have you seen?
I have seen a lot. I have not seen For the Love of the Game. I have not seen... I've only seen part of The Natural. I know a lot of people get upset about that. I know the gist of the story, but that's it for me.
I have seen parts of all of them.
Have you ever seen any in full?
Oh, yeah. 8, 7, at least 7 or 8. Maybe 9.
That's where you start. You don't start with I've seen parts of all of them.
I have been exposed to every single one of these movies. Put it that way.
All right, let's fire away. Question number 1, or I should say quote number 1. What do you got for us? Magical people behind the screen, dangling the strings. Pick me out a winner, Bobby.
Pick me out a winner,
this one.
Bobby.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. I would say it's possibly For the Love of the Game, possibly The Natural, because those are 2 that, like I said, I've only seen parts. And what do you want to go with?
I'll go with The Natural.
I would lean For the Love of the Game, though. It's a Natural. We're going to get the winner.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Boom.
Right. There we go. Let's cross that one off.
Yeah, talking to the Bat
list.
Boy. Pick me out a winner, Bobby.
Yes.
Okay. 1984,
Robert
year of my
Redford
birth.
in so many baseball movies.
Year of my
Year
birth.
of your birth. Mm-hmm. Also a great book. Terrifying.
Charlie, here comes the deuce. And when you speak of me, speak well.
I don't know, unfortunately.
I don't know
that one.
That might be. Is that?
It's not Moneyball. It's not Sandlot. It's not Major League.
For Love of the Game,
For the Love of the Game,
or Bull Durham. Let's go for Love of the Game.
For the Love of the Game.
God,
going to be Bull Durham then.
Gravy. It was Bull Durham.
Yes.
It was Bull Durham. I should have gone with Bull Durham because that's a funny line, and Bull Durham was a comedy.
All right, number 3, fire away. Try to get back on the winning side here. We're 1-1. Well, I was just wondering why you would throw home when you got a 2-run lead. You let the tying run get on second base, and we lost the lead because of you. Start using your head. That's the lump that's 3 feet above your bleep.
That sounds like Jimmy Dugan in A League of Their Own.
I'll go with that. I honestly have no idea.
That's Jimmy Dugan in A League of Their Own. That's the great Tom Hanks being Jimmy Dugan in A League of Their Own.
Very nicely done. 2-1. Number 4 coming your way.
1992.
I never got to bat in the major leagues. I would have liked to have had that chance just once to stare down a big league pitcher, to stare him down, and just as he goes into his windup, wink. make him think you know something he doesn't.
Okay, it's not Major League. It's not Moneyball.
Again,
It's not
no idea.
Sandlot. Maybe Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams? Yeah.
There we go, baby. That's the Costner bit right there.
3 and 1.
Okay.
Costner in every baseball movie
Seriously.
known to man.
He really is.
Yeah.
Which is ironic.
We get it, Kevin. You like baseball.
Because Cal Ripken, one of the greats of all time, did not like Kevin Costner.
All right. Yeah, I know
Say
that bit. You mix your Wheaties with your mama's toe jam.
That's got to be the Sandlot,
right?
Yeah, that's a burn. That's a burn. Probably coming from Ham Porter.
It's funny. Recently, they got all of them back together in a picture, and they all look exactly like you would have expected them to grow up and look.
If you were in the Sandlot, which one would you be? Were you a Ham Porter? Were you a Benny the Jet? Were you Benny the Jet back in the day?
We would all want to be Benny the Jet.
We all
it would be arrogant.
We can't all be Benny the Jet.
Benny the Jet. I'd probably Squints.
Squints.
Oh, trying to make out with Wendy Peppercorn. Make a move like that.
I see you, Fortenbaugh.
All right, halfway through number 6. What do we got? Real hard to steal. Major League. That's Clue Haywood.
Talking to Willie Mays Hayes.
You're going to look real sharp trying to steal second with your shoe untied. Clue Haywood.
Classic.
He had some great lines. Hey, Taylor, what are you doing back up here? How's your
Did
wife
you
and my
like Clue
kids?
Haywood or Jack Parkman as the antagonist better?
Parkman had more lines.
Yeah,
Parkman was a bigger part of the
was
movie. Haywood line for time on screen was outstanding.
He was
Absolutely
great.
outstanding.
He was great.
When this guy sneezes, it looks like a party favor. All right, number 7. What do we got? Keep it moving. We are doing quite well.
I think we're 6 of 7 right now. We just missed the one.
That dude is a bad mother. You talk about a loan shark. I borrowed a nickel from him last week. He said if I didn't give him a dime by Friday, he would break my arm.
I am going to say that is bad news bears, because that sounds like something Walter Matthau would be talking about with his drinking and gambling.
I wonder how this movie would play today.
Not
Guy
well.
drinking beers in the dugout.
Not well, I'm going to guess. All right, what's our next one?
All right,
We're on a
3 to
run
go.
here. We're on a heater,
6
baby.
and 1, and we got 3 to go.
We're on
doing
a
really
heater
well.
here, baby.
Process of elimination should get us. I can always tell when I'm in New York.
Is that for love of the game?
I'll go with that. For the love of the game.
For love of the game. That's Costner. What do you know?
Costner again.
And again, he could always tell when he was in the Baltimore region as
Joke
well.
never gets old. All right, fire away. 2 more
Actually,
to go.
he's not allowed in Baltimore.
We can get this one right. We can go 9 and 1. There's a thing called talent. They don't have it. Ooh. I almost want to say Moneyball.
I almost want to say Moneyball, too.
Moneyball.
Gaskets. It was Angels in the outfield.
Angels in the outfield. Danny Glover. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who went on to played Robin in the final Batman. Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio sidekick. A lot of great movies. All right, final one.
So we're going to go 8 and 2,
Let's get the quote
Moneyball.
anyway. You get on base, we win. You don't, we lose. And I hate losing. Xavi, I hate it. I hate losing more than I even want to win. Was it Chavez or Chavez? I have heard Eric's last name pronounced both ways, and I never got it right. Moneyball would be the pick. Give us the ding. 8 and 2, FTW.
Not bad. Not bad.
Big compliment to a guy in real life, Billy Bean.
Exactly.
If Brad Pitt is playing you. Like, that is ridiculous if that's the casting. All right. That's it done.
Yeah, 8 and 2. I'll take 8 and 2.
8 and 2.
Those weren't like the most famous lines from those movies either. They were kind of obscure.
We were able to not embarrass ourselves, and as always, that is the key. Wednesday, final segment. Before I let you go, one final bet on some topic we have not been able to cover as of yet. What are you thinking for tonight?
All right, I'm going to look at the NBA card before I let you go.
Big card tonight.
Wednesday's always big. We got a couple of ESPN games. Pistons, you cut me out there.
Cut your word off.
Cut myself. Pistons, I'm not pissed about the card. I actually love the card tonight with all that action and daily fantasy. Pistons are at home hosting the Trailblazers, and we know the Pistons have one of the worst rosters in the NBA now. They're in full tank mode.
Confirmed.
The Blazers have gotten much better, adding Norm Powell. Oh, yeah, CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic are back. They're at full health. Laying 7.5, yeah, I'll do that against the Pistons. The Norm Powell makes them better. We know that the Pistons are in tank mode. Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum should get 50, 60 points. Powell should chip in. Nurk and Cantor dominate down low. So, yeah, I'll lay the 7.5 with the Blazers.
Just noticed while staring at the screen, a lot of machismo today.
Yeah, you know,
we left an extra button open.
You know, it's warming up out there.
It is nice. It is nice here this time of year. I am going to go with the under 230.5 in the Kings Spurs game. These two got together on Monday. 247 points were scored. The Kings could not miss from deep. Actually, they could, but relative to the mean, 18 of 36 from deep, 50% from three-point range. That was their best performance of the season. The Spurs shot 50% from the field, 7th best performance in 44 games. Here's where it's interesting. This is the 7th time this year the Spurs will have played the same team in back-to-back games. In the first 6 instances, Game 1 featured an average of 228 points. Game 2 in the rematch, 202 points.
Ooh.
This is the rematch.
Nice trend.
We're going to go under.
That's a nice trend you found there.
Opening days tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We're back here. Daily Wager, ESPN 2 today at 6 p.m. Eastern. Fulghum, Fortenbaugh. Have a great night.